break up our groups and have just some time to kind of huddle up and just debrief on the weekend and just kind of a couple things we want to cover in our activities. So whenever you are ready. Actually, John brought up a good question while we're waiting. Has anybody else had any team members ask about Halloween?
Huh?
No.
Because,
I had one assume that we weren't gonna have a rehearsal.
okay, so Halloween's on Thursday. Definitely.
Wow. This is a new thing for me.
So we will.
Halloween what?
We will get some
Halloween's
We
not a
have,
thing?
That's
Halloween
okay.
is a Thursday.
It's an American thing.
Let's figure
So
out how
Australians
because
adopt
we're
it,
sending
Sunday.
out
It's done.
the
Pick up
schedule
again.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
in
that
different
weekend,
pockets.
and then
Yeah.
I think that weekend for Christmas.
Christmas is on Tuesday. Oh, yeah.
So like rehearsals and stuff.
I'm kind of bummed out.
So as you guys are planning sets for the
That's alright, we're gonna
Thanksgiving
wait.
weekend,
It'll be really
We
simple.
can
it'll be
Halloween's the
just kind of
funnest
an
thing
add-on
ever.
to
It
the
is.
set. Okay, great. So no new songs that
Can't wait, I
weekend.
really can't wait. I was gonna make a giant turkey.
For Halloween?
No.
No, that's.
Alright, so there's been a couple changes in this morning that have been made, so, it'd probably be really great too for you to be tracking along with your campus plan and make sure that that is, up to date. So we're gonna start this again with great things. Worship leader will greet over an intro, as always. And then there's an option, so we're gonna go into Echo. Transition option is you can kind of crash out great things and go into that interlude, the Echo and my that part. I'm not gonna sing that.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
work there. That's an option for you. You guys can get creative too with that. And then after Echo, we'll go into What a Beautiful Name, and that's gonna be the remix version, which is a separate arrangement, and I'll say Young and Free remix. So make sure that that arrangement is up there so you can get the right tracks. We have key options in C, D, and E. So you can figure out for those first three songs what your best kind of plan is. It works out for all three to be in C, and you can kind of trade off between male and female lead. Some like adjustments, that's fine. And then after the remix version, we're gonna go into the first part of communion. So campus pastor, campus host will come on up, and intro communion. We'll do the first part of Belong to You, the roadmap.
Yeah.
Just give me that, that's it.
The What a Beautiful Name remix is pretty straightforward. It's more so just
The
different
chord
layers.
changes, the chords are different, the progressions. So those are all updated in the chart, and listen for like kind of the breaks and stops in it. That's kind of a key element in it too. And I'll be updating you guys like with the band leader content and stuff today too. Those are the main differences. Other than that, it just really plays through the whole thing. I think it's only 4 minutes. Like it's pretty just like kind of run down straight through.
Where do you put, can I ask a quick question? Where do you put the band leader notes? You put
In
that
the worship leader weekend notes, I email the band leaders, and then it goes onto the same doc that all of the notes for the weekend are.
And then we talked about like an acoustic style version.
Yeah, I'll be looking at that today, and possible ways to fit in elements of the track still with an acoustic band, but probably not with like synth bass and drums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But other elements that maybe we can still keep.
So there should be a way for every campus to do some version of the track. If that needs to be reevaluated, please reach out before making that adjustment or call on your own. So after communion, we're gonna go into Belong to You. Roadmap is in there in the network plan. Make sure we're following that. We need at least, at Hunter Park, it's like, I think at least 4 minutes for the elements, right, to go all the way around. It's different at every campus, but just make sure that you allot enough time for that, and connecting with your campus pastor or your guest services lead to make sure that you get enough time in that song. And then campus pastor, campus host will come back out, lead the church through taking the elements, communion part 2, and then we'll build back through Belong to You. So that should all feel very seamless and fluid. So make sure you're also connecting with your hosts on transitions and all of those things for that part of service. And then per Pastor Matt's request, we're going to end service with Raise a Hallelujah. There's a possibility we're going to do like some sort of call to action moment. We'll notify you guys when that gets solidified, but we don't know that
sure, things are updated as soon as possible, with those changes, especially the closing zone. So that band members are practicing.
And just as a, maybe to reiterate, I'm making anything that is changed to the weekend in terms of like, hey, this is a song change or whatever, that's going on the campus worship leader Slack channel, because it's a campus worship leader responsibility to make those plans for their campus, even if they're not scheduled to be the worship leader at their campus. So I'll usually put these changes need to be made by this time to give our teams enough time to practice. So please, as much as you can, I'm trying to be mindful of those times as well. So just be really quick in making those adjustments as soon as you can.
Yeah, and Melly just asked for us to reiterate the importance of checking the weekend experience channel, checking the weekend programming channel over the weekend. It's just the role that we're all in serving. It's just not notifications on Saturday nights and snooze being on and things like that. It's just not helpful. So we need to make sure that not only are we checking, but if you've got somebody on your campus who's in for you serving as worship leader, that you're making sure that they know they need to check those. And I think beyond just checking, we were doing really good with this for a while, like, hey, give us some thumbs up or something like that. But if there can just be some sort of affirmation that you've read it and seen it, then we don't feel like we need to like, hey Tim, did you get that text, or whatever. So it just shows that eyes are on everything, we're all on the same page, moving in the same direction. So if we could tighten that up a little bit, that'd be great.
I know we did that Matt did a lovely communications presentation a while back, but that was when we were in our old Slack family, and now we're in a new one. And I don't seem to understand anything that's on any, or like what any of those things are, like the main information that we should be finding in any one channel. I'm just seeing the white and I just check it. So like, is there a way to know what should be and what, now that we're in a new family together? I'm not looking at you like you need to tell us, but that was a really helpful thing. And
No, it's
talking
fine. I
about
helped Luke
that.
set it up, and so it should be the same channels that
Okay.
we had before. It just
They're
says
still set.
worship before.
It just seems like they'd be firing off, and I'm not sure what.
Yeah, I mean, and if we want to change it before, like all the information for the weekend was on the weekend programming channel, which also is there. But if we want to change that to campus, we just need to change the expectation, make sure everyone has notifications set up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, anything that is regarding the weekend execution, like that's going on weekend programming, and probably can be communicated to people who are regularly getting some notifications.
I'm talking more just the stuff that goes to us or to worship leaders, not about the weekend, even just information. It's coming.
It's coming in 4 different channels.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, not the weekend stuff. Weekend stuff's cool, and I get that.
Yeah, we've got worship staff, we've got worship general, we've got this
But then
weekend.
our
All
campus
staff.
pastors and or other leaders that aren't part of this circle are then communicating things on those channels.
Yes.
So it's this the nature of the beast right now. We're gonna get communicated 3 times over.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, I'm like, it's fine. I
Yeah.
just was asking if we had, because we had that kind of breakdown. Of here's the information that we should see on these different things.
Yeah, it should be based on like who needs to see the information.
Gotcha.
So if it's just for campus leaders, campus. If it's for like even volunteer worship leaders, regular worship leaders, that kind of stuff, that's the general. And then if it's the staff thing, like I would think like stuff like changes to this meeting and stuff like that, that would be the worship like staff channel, stuff like that. But it's not a hard and fast rule, and we kind of gotta roll. Like if someone starts a conversation in one channel, we don't like just move it. Like we have to
Yeah.
still like respond in kind.
For sure.
But yeah, my thing would be like questions and info about sets and the weekend should still stay on weekend programming as much as possible, just because it can get lost. Because I even was looking like, where did we talk about the arrangement being, and it was on campus and not on the other. So I think like it's easy to get lost for sure.
Overall, weekend stuff I have felt like has been great. Again, I was speaking primarily to even our
Yeah,
and again, meeting announcements and things like that.
and we'll get descriptions back up on the channels too, like themselves, so it has like what each channel is for.
Sweet.
Just curious, did any other campuses have to change, push service times back this weekend? You did? almost.
Yeah, I mean, we probably should. We ended 7 minutes before the next one started, and we still went for it.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
We're like, let's go.
One of the
When was that?
tags,
Okay.
but then it still looked like really cool.
Okay, I was just
Pastor
curious.
Jonathan accidentally cut one of the tags, and then we were able to start.
He was led by
we
the
were able to
Spirit.
start
That's
saying,
what it
he
was.
just
He was
led
led
by
by
the
the
Spirit,
Spirit.
like,
Alright.
onto the platform, and I was like, amen, there you are. And then we just all, praise God, my eyes have been closed. At one time, my eyes were closed on the tag, and when I opened them, he was there. And I was like, oh, we stinging right now. So it worked out. My eyes were open, and I saw him be led by the Spirit onto the stage, and we're like, all right, no more. God, you were good the last time. You don't need to be. Same message still applies to right now. And it's funny because his transition, he called on that song, and he told a short little story about that song in his transition.
That's really funny.
It says, Exodus 24, verse 9, Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 elders of Israel climbed up the mountain. There they saw the God of Israel. Under his feet there seemed to be a surface of brilliant blue lapis lazuli, whatever that is. It was as clear as the heavens, clear as the sky itself. Did anybody see that movie Contact with Jodie Foster? It's like this end scene where I don't even know where she is, but she touches the sky and it ripples, and she's just surrounded by this. Can you imagine climbing up? Like, I don't know what that mountain is with the big M on it. What
It's a mountain. It's a mountain.
Cool. I don't imagine that this mountain would have been too dissimilar to that. You know, it's like in Saudi Arabia, kind of ugly, beautiful in its own way. You know, but they go up this mountain. I mean, Beck and I climbed a little mountain the other day. Actually, it was more of a crest. But when I got to the top, I was like, I'm dying. Call 911. Imagine climbing up this mountain, and you know, there's a cloud up the top. You go into the cover. You got like 74 guys with you, and you come into a clearing, and God is standing there, and under his feet, it's as clear as the heavens. I mean, imagine what that would be like for a moment. And then it says, and though these nobles of Israel gazed upon God, he did not destroy them. That's good. In fact, they ate a covenant meal, eating and drinking in his presence. So these guys climb a mountain, they see God standing there, clear as the heavens underneath his feet, and then they sit down and they have a meal with him. And that was, that's like 2 chapters before God talked about the veil being introduced in, you know, the Holy of Holies and all that kind of stuff. I love what Melody said the other week about the grind of us, if you're away and you missed it. But we work really hard doing what we do, and there's a lot to achieve and a lot of boxes to tick. But then we've got to go and find God in the midst of all that. We've got to prioritize that as well. These guys had to climb a mountain to find God, and we don't have to climb mountains, but like a mountain, spending time with God requires something of us. And we've got to carve out that time every week and absolutely make it a priority. Climbing up a mountain, I mean, you can get halfway up a mountain and the view is absolutely gorgeous, and you can go, cool, I'm turning around and I'm going back down. But when you go up to the top, it's like this really rewarding thing. And it's not like, you know, we're new covenant believers. We don't have to climb mountains. We can just close our eyes and we can feel God and speak to God. He lives inside of us. That's New Testament. But it still does require something of us to really focus in on God and carve out that time. So I just wanted to make a quick encouragement, following up on Melody's thing last week. Just find the time, no matter what you have to do, and it will require something of you. It might require something of your family as well to let you go and do that. But yeah, I just want to encourage you all, just carve out that time any way you can, make it a priority. Amen.
Amen.
So we're gonna spend the rest of our time, we're just split up into our groups.